we're going to talk about MUBX and Mercedes-Benz control using an API. So there is this code by, what's his name, over here on GitHub, which is really good. It's the Mercedes Me platform for custom components for Home Assistant. This allows you to control your Mercedes Me car using the Home Assistant dashboard. So just a plugin, basically. I've taken this code and I've refactored it into being a Node.js API. I will admit it's very much a work in progress. It hasn't got all the features. Mainly the one being authentication. So this is the code over here. So you got a few files. You got your index, which is very basic. It's not got a lot of code in it. We'll show you over here in a minute. Let's have a look. I'll tell you what. Let's have a look now. Importing whatever, all the stuff you want. The post URL is optional. This is added by me currently, and is probably in there somewhere. Yeah, it'll be up here, and we've not factored that out. But basically, this allows changes to be posted to something list waiting to action that response dynamically when a car state changes, because it uses WebSocket technology, so it's not polling, it's stateful. We get some access tokens from the auth JSON file. I'm not going to show you that, but you could probably guess what's in that. You need to create one of them and input the access token, refresh token, and timeout. You can get that by sniffing the communication between the phone and Mercedes-Benz upon login. I might show you that later on if I get time. We then got some headers, just standard headers, blah, blah, blah. Connection to the WebSocket. So the WebSocket is actually here. This is the URL, so it's socket.emas production mobile SDK mercedes-benz.com. Basically, this requires the header options that we created earlier, which one of them will be the auth token, the tracking ID, and stuff like that. We just randomly generate them. This connects, and we start a timer, because we've noticed that if the connection stays open for a long period of time, hours, days, eventually it becomes quite slow, so we reboot the connection every now and again. Or if we haven't heard anything from Mercedes, they like to send updates just periodically. So just outputs to the console that it's connected. Then we get a message, process it. So the data is always sent as a binary format. I'm not too sure about this .proto file. Oh, that looks... might need an extension for that. But anyway, it uses some custom binary data structure. But luckily, over here, they've decoded it. So I've just copied that and I've refactored it into Node.js. It's quite useful because you've got the vehicle API commands. So in here, you can find the commands. So like setup, so door lock. Am I going here? Oh no, sorry, this is the file. Vehicle commands. Doors lock. So these are listing some of the commands that you could send. So like you can do the doors, the engine start, stop. This requires different privileges. Not really. I couldn't get the engine start and stop to work. However, the command gets there. It says something like no active services. This might be an issue with Authentication API. So processing the data is binary, blah, blah, blah. We deserialize it using the vehicle events from that vehicle events file, which helps us convert it into a string. We then, what do we do? We send back a client response message that basically says, we've acknowledged that we've received that message. We then update it. So we're creating an array here of car states by VIN and car states time. So car states by VIN is to allow us to save the array. The array is in a really weird format, but we convert it. Where's JSON? We convert it into a format similar to this. So say you've got two cars, you'd have a car ID here, which is the VIN number, followed by all the parameters of the car. Whereas previously the JSON is in just a regular dictionary format, and it's quite hard to parse. As you'll see when I talk about the parsing. Hold on. Yeah, so if you get the command, we send it and we change it. Where are we going? Yeah, update car state by VIN. So this is where we actually get a message from the car about the car state. So we just take the car state, and as you can see here, it's sort of like the first stat object is a string and it's the VIN, and then the next object might be an array, it might not be, of the car data, but we just work with that to allow us to map it. So we just map it, and then we post changes. We notice that there's a change key. I'll show you here. So change true false. That gets changed when the state changes. However, issues such as the service ID changing seem to change that. Not really sure why. So we are implementing our own change state, which just checks. We've got ignore keys such as vtime and vehicle data connection state. We're not doing updates based on them. You can change that as you like. Include keys, so if it can, blah blah, if it's one of the ignore keys. Vehicle state change. So we're just checking if the state change has changed to allow us to check only the keys we're really interested in. Because realistically, we're only interested in if like the display value changes. We're not interested in the time or the change state. So we're just comparing that here. To which that then allows us to post the changes to manage car state. So this will check what the state is. We also, using this car state time, we're implementing our own custom function for the vehicle being unlocked for 15 minutes. This you can change this time, of course. So this is just when the vehicle's been unlocked, we're going to post as if we were a command from the car to the API in PHP that the vehicle's state has been unlocked for 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes originally, we changed it to 15, but I've left the command as the same. So now let's talk about some of the API endpoints. Let's close it down. So you got car ID list states. So car ID list states. List states. This just lists all the known parameters about the car, like tyre pressure, front and left, tyre marks, all that sort of stuff. To which you could specify a singular command with the command here, or you could specify all, which give you all the responses with all the data about each of the commands. Not each of the commands, sorry, each of the fields we know about. You can also send commands, so commands post, like doors unlock, it will send the doors unlock, and to which you'll get this back. You might get errors if there were errors from the server. What else? You can also send a secondary command with this. This takes a secondary command for things like the heating. You can set what parts of the car and the values and stuff. That's a work in progress currently. It's not supported. We set the pin based on environment variables that we gain. So make sure you set the environment variable. Where are we getting the pin? Pin is the environment variable for car pin. We also support the refresh. Where's the refresh? Refresh token. Every time the process is created and started, it will refresh the tokens using their OAuth2 and the refresh token that you gained. This is so that we can maintain a connection. And if we drop and restart the WebSocket, we refresh it. But we don't need to refresh the token repeatedly while the WebSocket is active. They don't check that. And we just write it straight to the file. I think that basically sums it up. But do check out the GitHub if you're interested. If you've got any questions, I can talk more about it and explain it. But we're implementing this in our own. I haven't got it available. Oh, I can show you the widget here. So we've got our own custom widget. Oh, sorry. Custom widget here allowing me to control and unlock and lock my car. This sends commands using my iPhone on iOS 17. But it's a really cool feature. I'd recommend you look at it, check it out.